Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Let's Vibe, the channel all about crystals and our feelings. So today I wanted to talk about a very common crystal, one that I'm sure you've seen before or heard about at least, and that crystal is Smoky Quartz. Now, I just recently received this piece from a friend as a Christmas gift, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It's a beautiful palm stone because it fits in your palm. But I just love this piece. It's got a number of rainbows in it. So there's some fractures within the crystal, and if you hold it in sunlight at different angles, the light will be refracted, and you'll see rainbow colors. I don't know if I can catch one on camera, but there are certain spots where there's flashes of blue and yellow and all those rainbow colors. So very pretty. Smoky quartz is usually fairly transparent, although you can find, darker pieces. But do keep in mind that if you see a smoky quartz that's exceptionally dark, like black and opaque, there's a good chance that it's artificial. And the way that so natural smoky quartz is formed by natural sources of radiation. And so natural radiation is what changes the color from clear quartz to smoky. And so the artificial pieces, they take a piece of clear quartz and they irradiate it, I think with X-rays, and it creates a very, very dark, opaque stone. And it really doesn't look quite right. So just be aware that there are artificially created smoky quartz out there. But if it looks like this, then it's natural. So I still have some small quartz points. One of them, the largest one, broke. This was quite a while ago, and I haven't really used those smoky quartz points much. But since getting this palm stone, I've kind of reconnected with smoky quartz. Now, this stone is very grounding and protective. This smoky quartz resonates with your Earth Star chakra and your root chakra. So the Earth Star chakra is the chakra that's about 12 inches below your feet. So it extends down into the earth. And that chakra really connects you with earth energy. And it's like a deeper level of grounding and anchoring if you can activate that chakra in yourself. And when you connect with that chakra, it provides a deeper level of grounding. And it helps you to draw in or draw up earth energies for healing and whatnot. But this stone also resonates with the root chakra, and it can clear and activate your root chakra. And so it's very grounding, and it protects and dispels negative vibrations or harmful vibrations. What's really nice about this stone is it gently cleanses harmful energies and low vibrations from your aura, and it brings in more positive energies. So smoky quartz is uplifting. This is a great stone for alleviating stress and anxiety. This stone can be used for helping you, helping uplift you if you're struggling with depression or what's that? Dysphoria. That's the less severe form of depression. According to Judy Hall, smoky quartz can even be helpful for those who may struggle with thoughts of self-harm. It can help you let go of whatever is not serving you. Smoky quartz is great for releasing thought patterns, feeling patterns, behavioral patterns that have become harmful. You know, sometimes, often, we develop patterns and habits, and sometimes we develop habits out of a need for protection, to keep ourselves safe during difficult times, perhaps during childhood. But if we continue those habits, they usually become harmful in the long run. For example, like shutting down and shutting people out. You know, perhaps at one time, maybe in childhood, that may have been a survival mechanism. But as you're growing up and as time is going on, you know, shutting people down or shutting yourself down is no longer helpful. It's no longer useful, and it ends up harming you. And so smoky quartz is a crystal that can help with releasing those kinds of patterns and behaviors that are just not serving you anymore. And as I mentioned, it does bring in more positive vibrations and helps you, it can help you feel more calm. It helps you feel more centered, more grounded. So it's a great stone for challenging periods, when you're going through difficulties, when you're struggling with things, with emotions. Smoky quartz is great for assisting you during difficult times. And one reason, or one of the reasons I wanted to talk about smoky quartz, is that smoky quartz is a stone associated with Capricorn. It's also associated with Scorpio, but we are in Capricorn season right now. And Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. Now, the reason I mention that is because I wanted to share a little bit about some of my own difficulties in the last 6 months concerning Saturn and Saturnian energies. So for about the last year or so, 9 months, last 9 months, Saturn has been transiting my natal sun. So my sun is in the sign of Aquarius, and Saturn right now is transiting, it's almost on the exact degree as my sun sign, or sun. And if you're familiar at all with astrology or anything metaphysical, you've probably heard about Saturn. You may have heard that Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn is the stern parent of all the planets, and Saturn is the planet that teaches the tough lessons. And so oftentimes you'll hear about Saturn transits, whether it's a conjunction with your sun or Saturn return, or a Saturn square. You'll often hear about challenges or difficulties in relation to Saturn transits. So, as I've been going through a Saturn transit conjunct my natal sun, I have, without a doubt, been experiencing some Saturnian lessons. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about that, because it can be, if you're going through that, or whenever you do go through, because everyone goes through some Saturn transit in their life, it can be really tough. It can feel like, well, for me personally, I can only speak for myself, but for me, this transit has felt, especially in the last 6 months, it really felt like I got stuck. I got stuck I found myself struggling with a lack mentality, particularly around money. And that's not really a surprise to me, because I know I've always had a pretty poor relationship with money. And in the last couple years, I've been doing some work around that, around my mindset, around money, and learning about how to manifest and attract money. But it wasn't until this Saturn transit that that issue just kind of blew up in my face and became like I was just so focused, so distracted by that issue. I was thinking about it every day. From month after month, struggling with this feeling of lack and not having enough money, and not feeling like I wasn't able to attract any money, and don't know how to, and it touched on so many things. I found myself addressing a lot of deeper issues around self-worth, around how I grew up, around like my relationship with money as I was growing up, the things that I was taught about money, the things that I just learned as a child about money, and positive or negative. In my case, there were quite a few negative things. And so I found myself really facing up to these old patterns, old ways of thinking about money, old ways of looking at myself in relation to money, in particular feeling unworthy or undeserving. It was a roller coaster. Every week, there would be at least one day in each week where I would have some kind of emotional, I sometimes call it a tantrum or a breakdown, nothing like too severe, but fairly intense, just a lot of crying, a lot of processing. I'm so thankful that I've had my therapist to talk to, because it was tough. It was, every week I had something to talk about with my therapist. Every week I had some deeply emotional issue coming up. Sometimes it had to do with my parents. Other times it had to do with just my relationship with work, and because that was another issue that came up. It wasn't purely money, it was also the issue of work, and struggling with, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right kind of work? I can't seem to find the money, and so that made me that really made me question, like, am I, is this spiritual work the right path? Am I, am I on the right path? That was a huge question over the last 6 months. Am I doing the right thing? Am I hearing my intuition correctly? So many, oh my gosh, just so much not retrospection, but introspection, and so much questioning was happening. And I think that is a very Saturnian thing of, I felt like I was being pushed to continually question, like, who am I? What is right for me? And can I push forward? Holding true to myself, holding true to what I believe is right for me, and what I believe is my path, what I feel is my path. Sometimes I had other people, friends, family telling me what they thought was right. And that added another layer of confusion, another layer of frustration. It was exhausting. And entering into Capricorn season, I would say the month of December was kind of where things came to a head, especially at the beginning of the month. I feel like once we moved into Capricorn, things have settled a little bit. I've been feeling more grounded, and that's partly because right now there's 4 planets, including the sun, in the sign of Capricorn. We've got the sun, we've got Mercury, Venus, and Pluto all moving through Capricorn. So there's a lot of Capricornian earth energy right now. And so it is very, very grounding. And I do appreciate that. But things definitely came to a head at the beginning of this month. And I had a couple blow up moments, lot of emotional upset. But in that emotional upset, I had some really powerful moments of self-reflection. And it was like I could see myself clearly. I could see how I was keeping myself in a bad place, in a negative place. I could see how my distorted perception of myself was interfering with my ability to think and see clearly. It was interfering with my ability to draw in money, attract money, make money. Because I was seeing myself from a very old perspective. And it was totally outdated, completely outdated. And through these 2 or 3 emotional blow-ups where I really broke down, I had these epiphanies that were like mind-blowing. And it showed me, it was really interesting because on the one hand, it was very empowering. And on the other hand, it was kind of tough to look at, because I could also see, I could see myself more clearly now, and that was very empowering. I could see myself as I am now versus how I used to be. But with that, I could also see the negative side, the shadow side. I could see how my own perceptions, my own beliefs, and my own thought patterns were keeping me stuck. And I could also see how all of that was having negative effects on the people around me, the people in my life, friends and family. And that was hard to look at. It was very, very humbling. And in the end, though, I mean, this Saturn transit for me is still going, but those blow-ups were really, I would call them breakthroughs. And they were definitely the breakthroughs that I was hoping for and wanting. It was very painful. It was not fun, but in the end, it was worth it because it finally helped me. All that struggle, all that wrestling, and all that Saturnian energy, it helped me to finally see and take responsibility for my self-perception and how I am looking at things, how I'm looking at myself, how I'm viewing my world, and the way that I'm thinking about my world and myself. Because honestly, I was still really stuck in some very, very negative thought patterns. And those thought patterns felt very comfortable because I'd practiced it my whole life. But they needed to be blown up. They really needed to be blown up. And it's not a fun process, but it's worth it. And a stone like Smoky Quartz is perfect for a Saturn transit in your life. Whatever that transit may be, if you've been struggling in similar ways, or if you know you're experiencing a transit, Smoky Quartz is a great help. It's grounding, it's calming, it's soothing, and it brings in the better vibrations, the higher vibrations. Smoky Quartz gives you the grounding and the baseline from which you can raise your vibration and rise to a higher level and discover the joy and the peace and the love that is waiting for you. So that's just kind of in a nutshell my Saturn transit story of 2022. For a song, I had to go with Ariana Grande's Thank You Next. Now, obviously, I'm sure you've probably heard this song. It was a huge hit when it came out, but Thank You Next is, she's singing about her experiences with ex-boyfriends, but the substance of the song is really about the gifts and the lessons that are learned and received by going through the challenging times, the gifts that you gain, and being able to see those gifts. That's essentially what she's singing about, being able to recognize the lessons from difficult experiences, being able to see the gift and receive it and be open to it, and to see your own growth and be appreciative of it. And I think that fits Smoky Quartz and its Saturnian Capricorn energies of, lessons learned and going through the difficulty and coming out the other side and being able to say, that was really hard, but thank you, because I learned something invaluable. I gained something that's just priceless. And it feels really good to be able to say thank you for the challenge. It's very rewarding. So I will include a link to the song Thank You Next in the description box below. I just want to remind everyone that I am open for tarot and oracle readings, and you can email me at livebyyourfeelings@gmail.com to request a reading, and we can talk about my rates and such. And I'll include my email address in the description box as well. And as always, thank you so much for vibing with me, and have a happy new year.